Okay, so we are back after some time, and the Palo Alto has rebooted. Let's check and see if the interface IPs are taken. Let's log into the GUI, and the pings are also successful here. Yeah, so let's keep it continue. Log in. Okay, let's close the message here. The first thing we need to do is we need to go to the network and virtual routers, and if I go and see the more runtime stats, should have the networks area. Earlier this was not the case, but now this is fine. So this is the next hop gateway that we got, uh, and 10 and everything's fine. Now let's go back to the interfaces and see if the IPs are correct. For the ETH11 I should get, if I click here, I should get the details, which is taking too long. Now you can go do the same thing from the putty as well. Let's go to the putty. I have saved the uh, session and I'll open this. And if I hover over this, it should show me the details, but it is not doing that. So I need to just change the IP here, okay, and load this. The IP that I need is basically this one. Save it. Now I'll open it. Okay, now that I'm inside, I'll say show interfaces all, and I should see the interfaces. Now for me, the ETH11 should be inside. ETH12 should be DMZ with 30. ETH13 should be 20. So everything's fine. Now let's go ahead. Okay, now let's go ahead and try a ping from my Palo Alto to the internet. Ping host A.A.A.8, and this is going to go via my management interface if I do like this, which is successful because we have a IGW attached to it, and we have a public what do you say, elastic IP on that interface, right? But if I do this from the source of um, 192.168.20.10, which is my outside interface IP, this is going to fail. Now why this is going to fail? I have the IGW there as well, right? But we don't have a public IP there. So let's go ahead and attach a public IP on the Palo Alto instance, or on the interface basically. So for that, what we need to do is elastic IP, because my Palo Alto should have internet reachability, right? So any data plane that is coming through will go via the outside interface. So I'll just allocate an IP, say like this, and then I will attach this to the interface, the outside interface. Okay. So if you see here, you don't have any association ID. I'll just remove the filter and I should see both, which while as this one is already associated. Now I'll click on this one, actions, associate elastic IP, network interface, and the outside interface, and save it. Now whenever I do this and go here, now this should start working, correct? Now this is my Palo Alto, and it is able to reach the internet via my outside interface. So Palo Alto is all set up, right? And also you can try with the domain name, okay, www.google.com. So it should be able to resolve the DNS and then reach the destination, correct? So this is good. Now let's move on and uh, have an instance in the inside uh, zone or inside the subnet. Okay, so for that I will launch an instance. Let's say this is going to be a Windows instance. Okay, and let's go here and select the Windows instance which we want, but this is going to stay in the private subnet. So how we are going to access this is via my Palo Alto. I'll set up a destination NAT, and then we will set up a rule there as well. So I'll select the Windows and Windows Server 2022, which is the base and free tier eligible. So you will not be billed as on this one. You have a trial version, right? So let's keep this as default. Let's scroll down. T2 micro, or if you want to have a better uh, CPU and memory, okay, let's go with T2 small. At least I will have 2 GB of RAM. And then the key pair is going to be my Palo Alto, which I already have. The network settings, this I am going to put into my inside zone. Okay, inside, I don't want to enable auto assign public IP because we don't have a public IP there. On the select, now I will allow everything here on uh, the interface of the AWS, because we don't want any firewalls to be blocking this, right? So that's all. Let's launch. Okay, we can go to the instance and wait for this to initialize. Now this will take some time to get initialized. In the time being, what we are going to do is, so the system is running but the status check is still like that. Just identify the IP address. This is going to be 192.168.10.208. Okay, now this IP, basically this one, right? I'll say this PC is going to be 192.168.10.208 if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 10.20. So this is my inside IP, correct? Now understand what we are going to do. Okay, so uh, let me change the color. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to set up a destination NAT on this interface, so that when I try to RDP, okay, RDP to this interface IP, the public IP, then this is going to translate the packet to the inside PC on this IP, and that is how we are going to do an RDP and access this Windows server here, because this is completely a private subnet. I don't have any access from the internet from the AWS side, so we will have to access it through the Palo Alto side. So this is what we are going to do. We need to set up a NAT and a security policy, and let's see what else we need. Okay, so let's keep it like this. Let's go to the instance, refresh, still initializing. Anyways, let's go to the Palo Alto. The first thing we need to do is need to go to the policy and set up a destination NAT. Now you have seen in the previous lectures how the destination NAT works. I'm not going to explain you anything more on that. I'll show you the configuration, right? So go to the NAT, add a NAT rule here, click on that, add here, and then we will name it something, right? Let's say RDP DNAT, something like that. Okay, now let's go to the original packet. Now you know that the destination NAT is going to be all this is here going to be as pre-NAT, right? Pre-NAT statements. For example, pre-NAT, how the traffic is looking. Pre-NAT, the source is going to be the outside zone, obviously. Destination also is going to be the outside, because we are trying to hit the outside interface of the firewall, which is on the ETH1/3. Okay, now service is going to be any, or you can define a new service which is going to be, let's say, RDP. Okay, I can say like this, service any, and I can say RDP, and let's say the port number 3389. Save it. You want to do it, you can do it like this. Then the source is again going to be anything, right? Any source. Now destination here you can specify, which is going to be the outside interface of your Palo Alto 192.168.20.10. correct? This is going to be the outside interface. Remember, this is not going to be the public IP that we have from the AWS. Okay, so let's translate it packet. Now here you have to specify the destination address translation. Let's select type as static IP. Translation address is going to be our address of the inside server right now, okay, which is 192.168.10.208. If you go here, this is the IP, okay, and this is what I have pasted here. Fine, and then select on OK. This is all you need to do on the NAT side. Now the next thing that we need to do is to configure a security policy which allows this traffic from the outside to the inside, right? Because by default the firewall is going to block everything, correct? So let's go and add the rule which says again LORDP or something like that. Okay, let's say LORDP. Now remember, the rule is going to be post NAT. Okay, now the source is going to be obviously the outside, right? And source address is going to be any. Destination while as is going to be the inside, correct? Inside, right? And then your destination address is going to be the outside interface of the firewall. Here it's a bit tricky here. So this is going to be your 20.10, which is your outside interface of the Palo Alto. Okay, and then application, you can specify the app ID, which is going to be your MS-RDP, I guess that is how you have in this MS-RDP, correct? And service, either you can keep as is or you can add the RDP here, because that is what we have. Actions is now allow. Let's log the section. Okay, and then commit. That's all. And we will wait for the commit to be successful. Once that commit is successful, then we are going to do an RDP from my local PC to the public IP of the Palo Alto, which is an elastic IP from the AWS, and then that should translate my packet to the inside IP of the Windows machine. This is which is again sitting in a private subnet inside the AWS, and I should be able to access the that PC from my local machine if everything is working fine. Now before that we do that, we just need the password of the Windows, right? And how do you get it? Let me show you. You click on that Windows instance, which is this one, and I'll say Windows inside. Fine, and then you just go and connect. Then you see RDP client, right? And then you can get the password. Now for this you need the PEM key that you have already, this one, and then you can decrypt the password. Copy. Now I'll go to the RDP on my machine, fingers crossed. Now this is going to be the public IP, which is an instance Palo, and I think this is the one. I can go here and check 40.18 and 40.18, correct? So I'll go here, specify this one, show more. Username is basically here administrator, correct? And I'll say connect, and then I'll copy the password. Now fingers crossed, if everything's working fine, they should prompt me for the password. And then once I specify the password, should give me an access to the inside PC. If I go here and this is failed, which is something to worry about, let me go to the monitor. the logs, or I can go here, download the remote file, go here and open this RDP. Right click on the RDP file and then edit. I'll get this, right? The IP address has to be different, which is going to be this one. Copy, paste and connect one more time. Connect. I'm going to refresh this. And let's go to the policy and see if I will be able to see any messages or hit. So hit count is 0 on the policy. And what about the NAT? Let me go to the NAT, and hit counts are 0 here. A simple mistake here. The public IP is not this IP. This is my management IP, wherein we have not set up the NAT. Basically, the public IP is going to be the outside this IP. Okay, so let's do RDP on that IP and connect, and let's go here, copy this, and I know this is working fine. Yeah, it is prompting me for the password. Let's paste the password, say okay, and this is going to log us in to the Windows machine which is sitting inside the Palo Alto, inside AWS, correct? So yeah, so that's how we log in to the instance which is inside a private IP with the help of our Palo Alto, correct? Now, couple of more things before we wrap up this session. Now, once I'm inside, I suppose I should not have internet access. So, me being on the system which is sitting inside a private subnet, I will not have the internet access, correct? So let's see how this is going to work, and then we'll see how to enable the internet on this machine. Great, we are inside the system which is sitting inside a private subnet in the AWS region somewhere, right? So if I go here and say this is going to be um, run, and then I'm going to go here, I can see the basically the private IP here, right? Just want to see the uh, status on this interface details. So I'm able to see this, and my default gateway is basically 10.1, which is the okay, great. So I have the default gateway set to my my Palo Alto interface, right? So the only thing that we need is okay, let me show you this. So if I go and do a CMD here, right, if I do a ping, because we have the ping profile enabled on my inside interface of my Palo Alto, this is going to be successful. While if I do this, this is not going to work because we don't have a rule there. Plus, we need to enable the NAT, the source NAT, basically not the destination NAT, the source NAT. So let's go to the Palo Alto and do both, right? Let's have a security rule here for the inside to outside traffic. Let's cancel this, and let's go here on the security policy, add a policy here. And even if I do let's go here, say I'll just open the Edge browser and try to access something on the internet, right? Say anything, this is not going to work, right? So let's say this is not going to work. Okay, we have to enable this because what we will do is we will just have a rule here, say in to out. Source is basically inside zone, which is the zone where the PC setting, right, is sitting, right? Source address, we can define the particular address of that PC. No need. I'll keep this open. Destination zone is going to be my outside. Address can be anything. Application, I can specify particular application, right? DNS, a ping, right? All those things. But I'll say any service URL, any actions are gonna be allow and log and say okay. Now still after this is not going to work. We need a NAT and basically a source NAT, right? So we'll go here and let's create one NAT statement here. Add one NAT statement here. Now I'll just say as this as the inside NAT, okay, and then the original source is going to be my inside again. Inside, right? Destination zone is going to be outside. Okay, let's skip any. Translated packet is going to be the source address translation, and I'm going to do a dynamic port address translation and translate the interface address, and the interface is going to be my p/1, and it's going to automatically take the IP address on that interface. No, it is not taking. Anyways, let's just say the translate the address and then IP interface Ethernet 1/3 is going to be my outside. Now I don't have the IP here, but let's keep it like this. Okay, then let's commit it. Commit. Now let's wait for this. Now by default, the DNS should be working fine, right? Because we have it pointing to the firewall. Now let's say www.google.com. This should resolve the IP address. Yeah, it is resolving the Google IP address, but it is not able to ping, I mean, go through the firewall. Okay, so that is what we will be able to see in a while. And as you can see, this started working because we have the rule which is already applied. And if I go and do this should also start working. So yeah, that is how you set up a Palo Alto in the AWS, what do you say, in the AWS site. And I've shown you a little bit how to set up the destination NAT and access a private an instance that is sitting in a private subnet. Now you can disable the management, what do you say, the management interface, and start managing it through this jump box, or you can have a separate jump box in the management subnet and have particular authorized users only credentials to that jump box and do the management through that and not through the public IP on the interface itself. You could have multiple use cases here, right? So at least, I mean, by doing this you will have a generic idea at least to start with how does the Palo Alto gets deployed in the cloud environment, and that too into the public and private um, subnets accordingly, correct? So with that, I hope you like this section on the deployment of Palo Alto on AWS, and I would like to thank you for watching this. I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you.